In May 2025, Duolingo was worth more than Hasbro, more than Under Armour, more than Hyatt Hotels. The stock had nearly tripled in a year. The green owl was everywhere on TikTok, and the company had just crossed 50 million people using the app every single day. 10 months later, the stock had lost over 80% of its value, more than $20 billion gone. And here's what makes this story genuinely weird. Nothing went wrong. Revenue hit $1 billion for the first time. Profits quadrupled. Users kept growing. By every measure that's supposed to matter, Duolingo was having the best year in its history. So, what happened? To understand why Wall Street turned on Duolingo, you have to understand two things: the man who built it and the technology that might unbuild it. Duolingo was co-founded in 2011 by Luis van Ahn, a Guatemalan computer scientist who'd already changed the internet once. He's the guy who invented CAPTCHA, those annoying distorted letter tests that prove you're not a robot. Then he built reCAPTCHA, which took all that human effort of typing squiggly words and used it to digitize books. Google bought it in 2009. So Van Ahn had already made his money. He could have retired. Instead, he started thinking about a problem he'd seen growing up in Guatemala. Education was essentially a luxury good. If your family had money, you learned English. If they didn't, you were stuck. And in most of the world, speaking English is the single biggest predictor of economic mobility. He and Severin Hacker, a Swiss PhD student at Carnegie Mellon, decided to build a free language learning app. Not free trial free, actually free. The original pitch was almost absurdly idealistic. Teach the world languages, charge nothing. And against all odds, it worked. Duolingo didn't become the world's most popular education app because it was the best at teaching languages. That's actually a pretty contested claim. It became dominant because it was the best at getting people to come back tomorrow. The app is basically a Skinner box wrapped in a language curriculum. Streaks, XP points, leaderboards, hearts, gems, progress bars, every psychological trick from mobile gaming deployed in service of learning Spanish verb conjugations. The streak counter is the crown jewel. Miss a day, lose your streak. Hundreds of days of progress, represented by a little flame icon, just gone. The human brain hates that. Loss aversion is one of the most powerful forces in behavioral psychology, and Duolingo weaponized it. Then came the social media strategy, which was borderline genius. Starting around 2021, Duolingo let its TikTok team go fully unhinged. The Duo Owl became this chaotic, passive-aggressive internet personality, stalking users who missed lessons, making jokes about being emotionally manipulative, showing up at a Dua Lipa concert in a mascot suit. It shouldn't have worked for an education company. It worked spectacularly. The account hit 16 million followers. Daily active users went from roughly 5 million in 2019 to over 50 million by 2025. The business model mirrored Spotify. Free tier with ads, paid tier without. About 80% of users never paid a dime, which was fine because the ones who did were paying $7 to $14 a month, and the conversion funnel was enormous. When Duolingo IPO'd in July 2021 at $102 a share, it popped 36% on day one. The market said, "This is a growth stock, and this owl is going to the moon." By mid-2025, the stock had climbed past $540. The P/E ratio hit 270. For context, Apple's P/E ratio was around 33. Duolingo was priced like it was going to teach every human on Earth to speak Mandarin, which makes what happened next feel almost inevitable. In late April 2025, Luis van Ahn sent an internet email to Duolingo's staff. Then, in a move that was either brilliantly transparent or spectacularly miscalculated, the company posted it on LinkedIn. The memo declared Duolingo was going AI first. Van Ahn compared the moment to the company's early bet on mobile in 2012, framing AI as a platform shift you either ride or get buried by. The specifics were blunt. Duolingo would gradually stop using contractors for work AI could handle. New hires would only be approved if teams could prove the work couldn't be automated. AI proficiency would be part of performance reviews. 2 days later, Duolingo announced 148 new language courses, all built by AI. Work that used to take a decade, done in under a year. The internet reacted about how you'd expect. On TikTok and Instagram, the comment sections, the same ones that had made Duo a cultural icon, turned hostile. Under a video of a baby owl plushie, the top comment was asking for real people to run the company. Van An did a podcast appearance where he suggested AI would eventually be a better teacher than humans, adding that schools would still exist because you still need childcare. That quote traveled. Within weeks, Van An was on LinkedIn again, walking it back. He insisted no full-time employees would be laid off. He said he hadn't given enough context. By August, he was doing interviews telling the New York Times essentially the same thing. This wasn't about replacing people, it was about making each person more productive. But the damage wasn't really about PR. The damage was that Van An had said the quiet part loud in a way that forced investors to ask a question they'd been avoiding. If AI can build 148 language courses in a year, and ChatGPT can hold a conversation in 50 languages for free, what exactly is Duolingo's moat? Here's where the accounting tells a different story than the headlines. On February 26, 2026, Duolingo reported its Q4 2025 earnings. The numbers were, by any normal standard, excellent. Revenue for the full year, $1.04 billion, up 39%. Net income, $414 million, up 367% year over year. Daily active users, 52.7 million. Paid subscribers, 12.2 million. The stock dropped 22% overnight. Why? Because the guidance for 2026 was brutal. Bookings growth, 10 to 12%, down from over 20%. Revenue growth, 15 to 18%. And the company's adjusted EBITDA margin was expected to compress to about 25%, down from where it had been running. Van An explained that Duolingo was deliberately sacrificing near-term profitability to chase user growth. The target, 100 million daily active users by 2028. To get there, the company planned to make premium features available to lower-tier and free users, invest heavily in AI tools, and expand into new subjects like math, music, and chess. In accounting terms, what Duolingo announced was a strategic reinvestment cycle. They were taking a profitable business and plowing cash back into growth, which is a perfectly rational thing to do. Amazon did it for 20 years. The problem is timing. When your stock is priced at 270 times earnings, investors aren't paying for rational long-term reinvestment. They're paying for acceleration, and Duolingo just told them to expect deceleration. To make things worse, the AI threat wasn't theoretical anymore. Google Translate keeps getting better. ChatGPT can tutor you in a language with infinite patience and zero judgment. T-Mobile was testing real-time call translation. The question wasn't whether AI could replace a language learning app, it was whether users would eventually realize they didn't need one. By late March 2026, the stock was trading around $95. Multiple law firms had announced investigations into whether Duolingo had misled investors. The company announced a $400 million share buyback, which is corporate speak for, "We think our stock is cheap, please stop selling." The P/E ratio, once 270, had collapsed to about 10. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. Duolingo might actually be making the right call. They just have to survive long enough for anyone to notice. Strip away the stock price drama, and what you're looking at is a company caught between two forces that are almost impossible to reconcile. Force 1. AI is a genuine existential threat to Duolingo's core product. When you can open ChatGPT and say, "Teach me Spanish," and get a personalized, conversational, endlessly patient tutor for free, the value proposition of a gamified flashcard app starts to erode. Not today, not for everyone, but the trend line is clear. Force 2. AI is also the only thing that can save Duolingo. The company used AI to build 148 courses in a year instead of a decade. Their Video Call with Lily feature, an AI character you can practice speaking with, is one of the stickiest features in the app. If Duolingo can transform from gamified flashcards to AI-powered education platform, the total addressable market goes from language learning, a $60 billion space, to all of education. Van An is essentially betting that Duolingo can adopt the technology threatening to kill it faster than that technology can replace it. It's the innovator's dilemma, happening in real time with a green owl mascot. The financials actually support the bet if you look past the stock chart. The company has $1.1 billion in cash against just $97 million in debt. Gross margins are above 72%. Free cash flow margins are above 35%. This is not a company that's burning cash and hoping for the best. This is a profitable business choosing to sacrifice short-term margins to go after a bigger market. The question is whether Wall Street has the patience to let them try. And so far, the answer has been a very loud no. Duolingo taught 50 million people to open an app every day. Now it has to teach Wall Street to wait. If it pulls that off, that might be the hardest language it's ever had to learn. If you found this interesting, subscribe. More stories like this every week.